Hi students, welcome back to class. Let's continue the Duchess of Malfi. We have come to almost the middle of Act 3. Let's see what happens to the Duchess. So we have seen Ferdinand discovering the Duchess' sin, otherwise the Duchess' relationship with another man, but till now he does not know who is that man. So after Ferdinand leaves, Borsolo comes and Borsolo tells that Ferdinand has left the place in anger. So at that time, the Duchess speaks about the mismanagement of funds of Antonio, and she says that she wants Antonio to be dismissed. So Borsolo is very cunning and he understands that Duchess has fabricated another story, and that's why she says this. So when we see the scene, that is in scene 2, by the end of scene 2 we can see Antonio pleading his innocence. Antonio says that he has not done anything wrong, but Duchess says that she has allowed him to go for a loan, and if she does not dismiss him at that time, that would be a problem for the king duchy again, and she cannot no longer bear him, and that should be a warning to other officers also. So other officers are called, and when each officer gives his opinion against Antonio. So in the last class itself, I told you about the opinion of each officer. So one officer says that he is the one who has misappropriated a lot of money. Another one says that he seems to be a Jew because he cannot bear even the sight of the head of a pig. And another one thinks that he's a hermaphrodite. That means he cannot even see the sight bear the sight of a woman. That means he's neither man nor woman. So that kind of a opinion is also there about Antonio. And then one after another we can see all these opinions. So after they say all these opinions, they are asked to leave, so they leave. And after they leave, Borsolo just comes and Borsolo starts praising Antonio. So Borsolo says that these people are rogues only. They have turned their plates against Antonio when and they understand that Antonio is in his bad situation, and when Antonio was in his good condition, they used to praise him, they used to go after him, they were ready to even give their daughters for his lust, they were ready to even employ their children as spies, so they were ready to do anything for Antonio. But now when situations has changed for Antonio, they have left him. So she is very happy to hear about all these things, but she does not know whether she has to respond to it or respond to it or not. And again, Borsolo continues his praises about Antonio, and he says that he is such a man who has a lot of virtues, and he is a noble man only. Though he is humble by birth, he has many virtues, and he does not show any of these things. So he is a man who has actually fallen in outer favor of the Duchess, and it's again a pity only that he is in this condition. So that is what it is mentioned here. So and so it is a pity that this man has to meet that kind of a situation. So that is what he says. So here it is mentioned that he even tells farewell to Antonio, saying that the malice of the world cannot bear the innocence or the virtues of these persons. So when all these things are mentioned, when Borsolo speaks about all these qualities of Antonio, the Duchess is enthralled. The Duchess says that this is again music to her ears only, and Duchess cannot control herself. Duchess says that this person about whom Bosola has spoken a lot is her husband, and she continues her thought. It means she continues confiding in him. She tells that this by this man she has given birth to 3 children. So Bosola does not stop here, and Bosola says that the Duchess should be praised for such a kind of act. So how can persons think about marrying somebody beneath her status? So there is a woman actually who has shown the right way to many ladies. There are many women and many men who have not been able to find out their partners, let them learn from the Duchess, who values the virtues more than the position of the status of the person. So this is a merit to all persons. Let even the churches also learn this virtue from her. Even Christians, non-Christians will also be ready to listen to her example. They will also be ready to follow her example. So he keeps on praising this Duchess for choosing Antonio as her husband. And she is very happy to hear all these things because she thinks that Bosola is a good friend of Antonio. Otherwise, how can he speak praises? But you know that Bosola is a very cunning, a very treacherous kind of man. He just wants to know about the mind of the Duchess. He just played upon the mind of Duchess, and by playing upon the mind of the Duchess, he is able to find out the truth about the relationship between the Duchess and Antonio. So very easily he is able to find it out because she herself confides the secret in him. So for a moment, she just thinks that this man is her friend. So this man seeks only good for them. So she trusts everything. She trusts him completely, and she confides all the thoughts in him. And she just says one more thing, that Antonio is sent to a place called Ancona, and Bosola can go to him, and Bosola can go and help him. All the jewels and all her property, everything will be given to Bosola to be given to Ancona. So now Bosola knows where this to be given to Antonio. So now Bosola knows where Antonio has gone also. So it is easy for Bosola to trace that. So Bosola, by his cunning way, he has taken the secret from her, and this poor woman who is not able to understand the character of others fall into the trap. Okay? Poor woman falls into the trap. That is what we see here. And now let's come to scene 3. Okay? And when Bosola gets all the secrets, he has decided to share this information with Cardinal and Ferdinand. So they have to be seen immediately. That means he has to see Ferdinand and Cardinal immediately, and he has to share this information with them. So everything is known to him. Where this Antonio has gone, also he knows. So it is very easy for them to trace Antonio and wreak revenge. And one more thing, he says that the Duchess can go to Ancona, and there is a pilgrim center, that is the shrine of Lady of Loreto, that is the shrine of Mary, Virgin Mary, and to that place the Duchess, along with her family members and her attendants, can go and they can visit. So this is something Cariola does not like, because Cariola thinks that feigning pilgrimage itself is not good. That is again playing with the religious matters, and she does not want that to be carried out. But here the Duchess tells Cariola that that is just a superstition only. Duchess wants to go and meet her husband, and she wants to take her children also to that place. So she thinks that all of them can go there and have a nice time. At least have a nice time. They can be out of danger. It is not having a nice life. It is not there at all in their life, but they can be out of danger. So that is what she thinks. It is again the suggestion given by Bosola. So she believes even the suggestion also completely. So Bosola has actually trapped Antonio, the Duchess, and her children also. So at one go, he can get all these persons. So it is easy for the brothers also to take revenge. So that is what actually he has done for the brothers. So he has very sincerely performed his task. So that is what we can find in the character of Bosola. Let's come to Act 3, Scene 3. And this scene is an apartment in the Cardinal's palace at Rome. And here we can see Count Malatesti speaking to Cardinal. So Cardinal is given a piece of information that the Emperor Charles V wants him to join the army, and he wants him to be a soldier. So a war is going to happen. So the Naples should be protected from the enemy. So in that war, the Emperor Charles V has happened to notice the skill of cardinal before joining the holy order. So he wants this cardinal to join the army and to become a brave soldier. So cardinal does not have any spiritual value as such. We have seen that, okay, he is the one who seems to be a womanizer. He has a number of concubines. We do not find any trace of spirituality in his character. So uh, it's not because of the lack of spirituality he is thinking of leaving the priesthood. By the instruction of Emperor Charles V, he is ready to leave the spiritual order, and he is ready to take up the order of a soldier. So he wants to obey that order, and he thinks that that will be better. And meanwhile, we can see Delio and Silvio speaking about Count Malatesti. There is another noble lord, that is Pescara. Okay, Count Pescara is also there. So we can see these two, Delio and Silvio, talking about Count Malatesti. So Ferdinand is curious to know that Count Malatesti is on the list of soldiers. So Delio and Silvio say that Count Malatesti will not be there on the list of soldiers seriously, because he is not the one who is ready to fight in the battle. He is a coward only. He will not go there and fight. He is the one who goes there for beef and garlic, and after having his food, he just wastes his time over there, and he is not at all ready to fight in the battle. He is again a person who is very timid in his character, and he whenever there is any kind of fighting, he just avoids those fighting, and he just looks at the almanac and finds out the good days and bad days. Accordingly only he will start any venture. So that such a kind of character is Malatesti. So here such things are actually spoken about Count Malatesti, and at this time they see Borsolo coming to the place, coming to the palace at Rome. And when Borsolo comes, the Pescara thinks that Borsolo has something to inform. Maybe he has to inform about the quarrel, or the petty quarrels of the cardinals. Cardinals usually have such petty quarrels. Maybe something related to that he has to inform. So Silvia just asked Delio about Bosola. So Delio knows about Bosola. Bosola is again a scholar who just tries to find out unnecessary things about others and tries to create problems. That is what Delio speaks about Bosola. They know that Bosola was a galley slave, so they know all those things very well. But it is unfortunate that Antonio has not mentioned any of these things about Bosola to the Duchess. So it's quite unfortunate only that Duchess trusted Bosola. Okay, Bosola. Then we can see Bosola just informs Ferdinand about the Duchess' lover. So Ferdinand is furious only, but we do not see the same fury we have seen at the mention of her illicit relationship. So they know very well about actually her illicit relationship. Now the partner is now known to them, so they are not ready to accept her relationship as a marital relationship. That is very well known. So here Bosala is like angry only. So even Delia and Sylvia also observe that sorry, not Basola, Ferdinand is angry. Even Delia and Sylvia also observe that Ferdinand is angry, and they say that there is a salamander in his eyes. So again, the use of animal image we can see that shows that eyes are red, and then he is very furious. Then he is laughs. So when he laughs, also it means that there is again the laughter of villain. So thus his laughter is also dangerous. Even his laughter cannot be trusted. That is what even Elio and Silvio say about his laughter. Sorry, Delio and Pescara. not Delio and Silvio, Delio and Pescara say about his laughter. So then we can see Cardinal speaking to Ferdinand about the Duchess' visit to the shrine of Loreto, and Cardinal says that this Duchess has thought that even the shrine of Loreto is again a place for a person like her to visit. She has even taken the religious orders and the religious places lightly. So that kind of a woman is their sister Duchess. That is what he says. So Ferdinand also says that no, she is a person who does not have a value for anything. Her beauty and her sinfulness are mixed, and that will actually create the effect of leprosy on anybody. That is what even Ferdinand also speaks about her. Um, so here, whether this children born to her by her relationship with Antonio is baptized, or whether they are baptized or not is not known. So here Ferdinand asks whether they are baptized or not. So who knows that? Nobody knows whether they are baptized or not. So anyway, they are not ready to consider her children as legitimate children. They are illegitimate children only in their eyes. That is unlawful children, or children born out of the wedlock. That is what they believe. And Ferdinand says that he cannot go to Loreto. He asks whether Cardinal is going to Loreto. So Cardinal will be going to Loreto, and we can see what happens over there. So meanwhile, Ferdinand tells Bosola to write a letter to the Duke of Malfi, that is the first son of the Duchess. So this son should be informed about mother's sinful life. That is what he thinks. So Bosola is ready to inform the Duke of Malfi about his mother's sinful life. And one more thing I have to tell you is that this Duchess of Malfi becomes the Duchess of Malfi after the death of her husband. It is again the property that is handed over to her. The duchy is handed over to her after the death of her husband. Okay? That is how she becomes the Duchess or the ruler of that particular duchy. So there is the Duke of Malfi, that is the son born to her in her marriage with the Duke of that is marriage with the first husband. So that son is alive, and that son is taken care of, and he also on his behalf actually the mother is ruling. So that is what is happening in the palace. So Bosola informs all these things, and Bosola sees that he will inform the Duke of Malfi about the Duchess' character. The Cardinal decides to request the government of Ancona to banish the Duchess and her family. So Cardinal has very high authority in church and the matters related to it. So Cardinal uses the Pope to give a request to the government of Ancona to banish the Duchess and her family. So the Pope will be informed about the immoral life of the Duchess, and when Pope tells the government, the state of Ancona to banish the Duchess and her family, the state will be helpless only. The state is helpless. So here, the government of Ancona will banish the Duchess and her family, which we can see. Now let's come to Act 3, Scene 4. This scene is again the shrine of Loreto. And here two pilgrims are seen. These two pilgrims, they see the ceremony of the cardinal renouncing priesthood and joining the army as a soldier. So here I'll just read those lines for you. A ceremony is performed. The ceremony shows the cardinal placing his cross, his hat, his robes, and his ring at the shrine. He is now wearing the uniform of a soldier, and he receives a sword, a helmet, a shield, and spurs. So Cardinal renounces priesthood, and Cardinal takes up the profession of a soldier. So that is why he places his cross, his hat, his robes and his ring at the shrine. After that, he wears the uniform of a soldier and he receives a sword, helmet, a shield, and spurs to show that he has taken the profession of a soldier. So he has joined the army. He's a, is a soldier who is fighting for his country. So that is actually shown. And after that, there is a dumb show. In the dumb show, it's clear that Antonio, the Duchess, and the children, they all are banished. So that is the dumb show, the meaning of the dumb show shown on the stage. And during that ceremony, a song is sung to the and there is a solemn music to accompany that song. This song is again a kind of blessing to the cardinal only. So telling, wishing him uh, victory, strength, fame on all his enterprises. So that is what is mentioned here. May virtue triumph, may there be victory on him always, may he be crowned with glory. So such wishes are given to him by that song. And after that, we can see both, that is, we can see first pilgrim and second pilgrim talking to each other and their opinions about the Duchess and Antonio. So that will be shown, because first pilgrim thinks that it's unhappy that the Duchess has chosen a person below her status, and it's again unhappy that the cardinal has treated her in a very cruel manner. So even the people also understand that the pain she is bearing, the hardship she is suffering now is again beyond what she has done. Okay, so that is not proportionate to the sinful act she has done according to sin is again according to the perception of Cardinal and Ferdinand. So anyway, another problem is that they have been banished. So here the second pilgrim also thinks that how is it possible for an independent ruler to be banished by another state, and that is also done by the power of the Pope, and the power of the Pope has done this because of the instigation of Cardinal. So it is very cruel from the side of the brother to punish her very cruelly. So anyway, they say that there is no justice at all. What kind of a justice is this? So that also they say, and they feel pity for Antonio. That Antonio has again, become an unhappy man. He is victimized. There is no justice given to him. And they see one more thing, that is the wedding ring on her hand. Okay, the wedding ring is again that is forcefully taken away. Okay, so that is also shown in the dumb show. So these people, that is first pilgrim and second pilgrim, these two actually represent the voices of the common people. Even they also say that this is injustice and it is cruelty from the part of the cardinal and other brother. So that is, they feel pity for Antonio and Duchess for the suffering. And next, now let's come to the next scene. It is Act 3, Scene 5. So here we can see, the pain of the Duchess. So this is also a place near Loreto. Okay, Act 3, Scene 5. It's a place near Loreto. Some words are shown here. Painful words of the Duchess. So before parting of Antonio and the Duchess, okay, so some words are shared here. So Duchess and Antonio, they say that they are banished from the place. So they don't have anywhere to go. Their life is miserable. And when Duchess just looks at the people around her, she understands that many people have already deserted her. So that is actually the condition of people when they are poor. When people are rich, there will be many people around them. When people become poor, people will leave them. So that is what she also observes here. And she says that even the wild creatures, even the birds that live in the field are happier than them, because they can choose their own mates, they can have their own life, so they are free. But here she does not have any choice. Either she or he does not have any choice in their life. They are restricted by the brothers, and they have to face all types of injustice in the life. And Basolo comes here, and he comes here and he brings a letter from Ferdinand. And in that letter, it is mentioned that he wants actually Antonio in a business. He wants his head in a business. So that is again uh, roundabout way of saying things. It's given like a puzzle only. That means this Ferdinand wants Antonio's head to be cut. He wants to see that Antonio is killed. To say that only, it is mentioned here. So it is very clear that Antonio is going to be killed by Ferdinand if he goes and meets Ferdinand. And then it is mentioned that he has actually engaged for her husband for several deaths at Naples. So he is not bothered about actually those deaths at Naples. Instead, he wants his heart. So that also shows that he is ready to kill Antonio. So even Duchess says that even the devil also will not be able to hide his meanings. At least whatever that is hidden, the meanings hidden can be understood by the Duchess and Antonio. Now they understand that they cannot go to Ferdinand at all. So after that, we can see Antonio telling Bosola that Antonio is not ready to come because there are the spies of Ferdinand and Cardinal all over the country, in different parts of the country. These people are there, so it will be a problem for him, because it is sure that they are going to trap him and they are going to kill him. So he is not ready to come. When that is mentioned, Bosolo says that that does not show that he belongs to a proper family. So that shows lack of good upbringing. And he says that anyway he's not ready to hear that. And Bosolo leaves. When Bosolo leaves, we can see Duchess telling Antonio to take the eldest son and go to Milan. So Antonio tells that Duchess to take care of the little children. Antonio does not know what will happen to him if he is not able to meet her again. He tells the Duchess to be a good mother to the little ones, to take care of the children. So they part. They don't know what is going to happen to them, whether they will be able to meet again or not. Also, they don't know. So for the time being, at least for the safety of them, they have to part. If all of them are at one place, it is easy for the brothers to kill all of them. All of them. So that is why, and the Duchess tells Antonio to go to Milan with the eldest child. And we can see Antonio leaving, taking the child. And after Antonio leaves, Cariola is there only. So Bosolo enters again with a masked face and a guard. And when the Duchess sees Bosolo, she feels very angry, and she says that if she were a man, she would have hit him on his face. So again, this is again a man who has a kind of pleasure in torturing her again and again. So here, Bosolo says that Duchess will be taken to the palace and she will be in confinement. And again, Bosolo says that to marry a person below one status is again unthinkable. He does not have a good lineage at all. Antonio does not have a good lineage. So Duchess says that one's virtues should be valued, not actually the birth. So if, because she herself knows about her brothers who are born in a noble family and how they behave. So she gives more values to or the virtues. She gives more value to virtues only. That should be valued. That is what she says. And she just speaks about anecdote. She relates a small anecdote. That is anecdote in the sense short story only. She relates a small tale, and that tale speaks about actually the value of a person in misery. So that is about different kind of fish. So there is actually a fish named salmon, and there is another kind of fish called a dogfish. So when salmon comes to the area of dogfish just gets angry with the salmon and tells the salmon to move out of the dogfish area. And salmon says that for the time being, both of them have escaped the net of the fishermen. when they are caught and when they are taken to the market, then only the real value of it will be known. So salmon's value will be very high in the market, whereas dogfish value will not be very high in the market. So in times of misery, when a person's value can be understood. So only in times of misery a person's value can be understood. A person's noble nature can be understood. That is what she tries to convey through the anecdote. So this is what happens in that act. So it's again very pathetic only. So if you just think about this act 3, we can see uh, discovering the act of the Duchess. In the beginning, Ferdinand comes to the Duchess chamber, and Ferdinand finds out that Duchess has a relationship with another man, but Ferdinand does not know with whom she has a relationship. Later, Bosola is the one who finds out. So throughout actually the play, we can find fear, and throughout the act 3, we can find fear and tension. We don't see any kind of happiness or relief at all. So then Bosola is a very treacherous kind of man. Nobody can trust Bosola. So we can see how Bosola changes his color according to the situation, how he gets information or how he extracts a secret from the heart of the Duchess, and how foolishly she confides in him. We can also see the cruelty of the brothers, and even from the conversation of Pilgrim 1 and Pilgrim 2, we can understand how cruelly these people are behaving. Even the common people feel pity for the Duchess and Antonio. So that is also shown here. And so we can see the pain and suffering of Duchess, Antonio, and the children. Even the Duchess says that even the birds have, let us say that even the birds have more freedom than them. They can choose their own ways, but they don't have even freedom. They are actually moving from one trap to another. That is their condition. So the endurance of the Duchess also can be seen here, because we are going to see her endurance in the next act more. So how nobly she bears her pain, that is what we are going to see. So she says that even in times of distress, if these people are able to bear that in a noble way, that shows the value of a person. So she speaks she relates an anecdote to speak about the value of a person in distress. So this is what happens in the play. With that, I have concluded Act 3. And, so all of you read the play again along with at least these lessons. Read the acts, try to understand very well. Take care. Bye.